How's it going, guys? It's your boy Kanji FPL and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be breaking down my 7 best bets for Game Week 7. But before we move on to Game Week 7, let's just review the season so far. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to post the best bets video in Game Week 6, but for the Game Week 5 video, we went 4-1, taking our overall season record to 15-11, and we're going to be up 6.1 units of profit over the course of 6 weeks, which is on track to my goal of being up of 1 unit of profit per week, so that over the course of the season we'll be up 38 units of profit, which is the dream scenario. We're on track, we're doing well. And if we take a look at the future that we placed in preseason, we put a 5 unit bet on Raya to win the Golden Glove at 3.0 odds. Those odds have come down to 2.5, which is a good thing, meaning that it's actually more likely to hit now, and that makes sense. Ederson has been conceding goals from one shot on target, Alisson has missed a game here and there, and Liverpool look incredible defensively, but I'm not sure if we can trust Alisson to play 38 games. However, unfortunately, Raya has picked up an injury. He hasn't missed any matches in the Premier League, but he is nursing something, so let's see how that plays out. Hopefully he doesn't re-aggravate the injury and he's able to continue to play through it. Other than that, this future bet looks absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure Arsenal will keep the most clean sheets in the Prem, and on the season we're doing great, but the best is yet to come. Our first best bet takes us out to the Emirates Stadium, where Arsenal are going to be hosting Southampton, one of the worst teams in the league, at home. And we're going to be backing Arsenal to win, both teams to score in the first half, no, and Kai Havertz to have 2 shots and get one of them on target. Now, Arsenal to win has like a 99% chance of hitting in my mind, and Arsenal have not conceded a goal in the first half in 8 of 9 games so far this season. Arteta tactics for Arsenal are diabolical to watch sometimes, but he's really known for having a very strong defense, and that's why I think I'm comfortable adding that both teams to score in the first half, no leg onto the bet. Those are just the icing on the cake, but the core of the bet is going to be having Kai Havertz to have 2 shots and get 1 on target, and that has hit in 6 of 9 games so far this season, and it's missed against Man City and Aston Villa in the Premier League so far this season, 2 teams that are actually at a much stronger level than Southampton, to say the least. And it also missed in the Champions League, where Arsenal were playing away at Atalanta. So that's another team that's more difficult to play. So in the easy games, Kai Havertz has been getting the shots on target. That's been the remaining 6 of 9 games. And Havertz has been playing so strongly at home, where he's actually scored a goal in all of his home matches so far this season. But we're not even expecting him to score. We just need him to have 2 shots and get one of them on target. Unfortunately, with Odegaard missing games, Saka is taking up the responsibilities to become the main playmaker of the team. And so I don't want to be backing Bukayo Saka to score, but I feel like Havertz will definitely be on the end of a couple chances that Saka's creating, and that's why I want to be backing Havertz to take the shot and get it on target. Our second best bet takes us back out to the Emirates Stadium, where we're going to be backing Arsenal to win, both teams to score in the first half, no, once again, and on this one we're going to be backing Starboy Bukayo Saka to get a goal or an assist. Now, so far in the season, Bukayo Saka has been very consistent, picking up at least 1 attack and return in 6 of 7 starts in the Premier League. However, he did blank last week against an opponent to a very similar level to the team that they're playing against this week, Southampton, and that opponent was Leicester. So, do you expect Saka to be playing against 2 of the newly promoted sides in Southampton and Leicester at home and expect him to blank in both games? No way on God's green earth. That is not happening. I'm 100% confident Saka is going to pick up a return, especially because when I looked at the underlying data for Saka last week, he picked up over 1 expected goal involvement, so I don't know how he didn't return, but I do expect him to get something this week. In fact, just based on my eye test, I watched the Southampton and Bournemouth game last week, and there was a player that plays in a very similar position to Bukayo Saka, but is half as good as him, and I saw him pick up at least 1 attack return, and he could have had 2 in that game, so I really feel like it's a perfect opportunity to be backing Bukayo Saka to get at least 1 goal and 1 assist. Saka is a much better player than Semenyo, and he plays for a much better team. And in general, Bukayo Saka is just so consistent. Last year, he got at least 1 goal or 1 assist in 22 of 35 games, and against newly promoted sides, Saka picked up at least 1 goal involvement in 4 of 5 starts. In fact, in the 1 game where he did blank, he actually gave a penalty away to his teammate, so he really should have a 100% goal or assist rate against newly promoted sides. So it just makes sense to be backing Bukayo Saka in a match like this. I trust him, he's a star boy, and I love this bet so much, I'm going to make it a 2-unit play. Our third best bet takes us back out to the Emirates Stadium, and we're going to be backing a very special situation where we have an ex-player going back to their former team, and that's going to be Ramsdale going back to the Emirates Stadium. He used to play for Arsenal, and this is the perfect situation where I want to be backing an ex-player that you know they're going to be extra motivated to prove it to their fans, to prove it to their former teammates that they're still a very good quality player. And that's why I want to be backing Ramsdale to put on a performance and pick up at least 4 saves. And if Ramsdale's picking up saves, that means that we have Arsenal players taking shots on target. And the number one culprit for me to take a shot on target would be Kai Havertz. I'm going to be adding an Arsenal money line. If you put that into a same game parlay, you can get the odds at 1.95 on FanDuel. Even if there wasn't data to back up this type of bet, this is the type of thing that I would expect to hit. In fact, there is data to back it up because Ramsdale has had 4 saves in 3 of 4 starts so far this season. That's a 75% hit rate. So it just feels like Arsenal are likely to score a lot of goals. I'm hoping that Ramsdale will make at least a couple saves. I'm sure his teammates will come up to him in the pre-match and be like, hey, let me score a goal here and there. It's not going to hurt you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I still expect Ramsdale to put on a show. Hopefully Ramsdale comes through for us. Arsenal fans probably have a little nice spot in their heart for Ramsdale, given how well that he played. But you got to be honest, Raya is just a better keeper, and it's kind of good riddance in a way. But either way, I think Ramsdale will be welcomed back with open arms, and I'm hoping that he performs well. Our fourth bet takes us out to the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City are going to be hosting Fulham. Now, Fulham are no slouches. I don't think Pep Guardiola will be able to play a B team in this lineup, and I'm expecting Foden, even though he started in the midweek in the Champions League, to also play again in the Premier League. Now, people think Foden is going to be out of form, or he hasn't had enough minutes in his legs. You know, Pep Roulette is always a threat. But I do feel like Foden is an exception. Last year, he was the Premier League player of the season, and KDB is currently injured, and I think Man City are going to need all hands to the pump in order to beat Fulham, even though they're going to be at home. And that's why I want to be backing Foden to take at least 2 shots, because he had 1 start in the League Cup and 1 start in the Champions League, and he had 5 shots and 6 shots respectively in those matches. And if you watch Foden, it makes sense. The man loves to shoot. He's very, very accurate and clinical with his shots as well, so no one is ever going to complain when he's taking shots. Last year in the Premier League, Foden had 2 shots in 25 of 33 starts. In order to get the odds up, we're going to be combining it with Rico Lewis to take a shot. Now, whenever Rico Lewis starts and plays more than 60 minutes, he's had 1 shot in 4 of 7 games. This guy has been Manchester City's best player at times so far this year. I cannot understate how important this guy has been, and his path to minutes has improved because Rodri's out. But either way, regardless of if you place this on Bet365, they have this rule that if the player doesn't start, then the bet's automatically void. So I'd suggest you place this also on Bet365 because of that rule. And the thing is with Rico Lewis is that he picks up the shots in the games that you expect him to get the shots. And the games that he didn't get the shots are in games against Chelsea, Newcastle, and Inter Milan. Those are the games you wouldn't even want to be backing him to take a shot. So it just makes sense. We know how good he is, and we're going to be backing him to take a shot. I mean, how hard is it to take a shot when you're playing for Man City and you have like 70% possession, you know? So that's why I want to be backing Rico Lewis and Foden to have shots at the odds of 2.1 on Bet365. Our fifth best bet takes us out to Villa Park, where we're going to be backing Aston Villa to win or draw, Andre Onana, the goalkeeper of Man United, to make 2 saves, and we're going to be adding in the sprinkle on top to just get the odds up of Arsenal to win. Man, we have Arsenal to win on a lot of bets. Hopefully that cashes, otherwise we're going to be in trouble, but it just is an odds booster to me. I feel like it's the absolute lock of the weekend. First of all, Man United are just completely out of form. They're not playing well. Their captain isn't really leading them. Even though they do have a fully fit squad for the most part, apart from like a left back here and there, they're just not playing well as a team. And if there's ever going to be a game where it's going to be tough to play, it's going to be at Villa Park. Villa are actually a very solid team. They finished in the Champions League spots last year. In fact, they just went out to Bayern and they picked up a 1-0 win. So obviously I want to be backing them to pick up a result against Man United. That feels like an absolute no-brainer. If we look at the underlying data for Aston Villa versus Man United, Aston Villa have better offensive data and they have better defensive data. But maybe the data is skewed based on Man United picking up a red card here and there. But overall, when you're watching the games, it just makes sense. Aston Villa are just more informed. They're a better team. Now, Onana is going to be the risk of the game, but from the way that I'm seeing the game, I just feel like Man United are going to be on the back foot. Aston Villa is going to be taking control of the game. And I feel like we'll have players like Bailey and Rodgers and Watkins that will be peppering Onana with shots. And Onana is just a very good shot stopper. One of the things that I love about him is that he's a very good player in terms of making saves, where he's picked up at least 2 saves in 5 of 6 games so far this year. And just touching on the Arsenal point, like Arsenal have a 99% chance of winning this game, and it just makes sense to be parlaying all these things together. I really did wish I could be backing Ollie Watkins to get a shot on target, but I'm just too scared. Like, I don't know if he's going to play 90 minutes. I feel like I should be adding that in, but I just don't have the guts because he's not a 90-minute man. He's not on the penalties. That's just not my cup of tea. So that's what I'm going to be backing, Aston Villa to win or draw, went on to get 2 saves and Arsenal to win. So our 6th best bet takes us out to the Amex Stadium where Brighton are going to be hosting Spurs. And in this game, I really want to be backing goals, and that's why I've added in both teams to score. Brighton have scored a goal in 5 of their 6 games in the Premier League, and Spurs love to score goals. Postecoglou's systems really encourage goals, and so it just makes sense to be backing both teams to score, especially when you have 2 very attacking teams playing against each other. Both teams have been in the top half for expected goals this season as well as last season, so the both teams to score part just makes sense. But I'm going to be adding in some Spurs player props because Spurs are just super hot right now. They've won 5 games in a row, scoring 13 goals in the process, and they've really passed my eye test. And whenever Solanke picks up 90 minutes, he has a shot on target in 4 or 5 games. So that's why I really want to be backing him, especially because Richarlison is out of the picture. That just means that Solanke is going to be getting 90 minutes, and he was their brand new signing that they added in this year. So they're just backing him. He's the figurehead. It just makes sense to trust him as well. Now, there is the elephant in the room of Heung-min Son potentially being out. We don't know if he's going to be confirmed out or not, but either way, I still would back Solanke to get a shot on target. Yes, if Son is out, then Spurs are not going to be as good. They may not be as creative, but still, if Son is out, that means that Solanke is also more likely to be on the penalty, so that just sort of makes up for that downside. In addition to Solanke, I want to be backing Brennan Johnson to get a shot because he's had a shot in 9 of 9 games so far this season, and he's actually scored a goal in his last 5 games as well because he's in such red hot form. If you combine all of those 3 legs together, you can get the odds of 2.25 on Bet365. Our last best bet takes us out to the King Power Stadium where Leicester are going to be at home playing against Bournemouth, but we're going to be backing the away team to get a results, and we're going to be backing Bournemouth to win or draw and Semenyo to have 2 shots. Now, Semenyo has been my star boy. I've been scouting him for almost a year now. He's in form, and he's picked up 2 shots in 6 of his 6 games so far this year. In fact, he's picked up 3 shots in 6 of his 6 games. So if you want to be risky, you can go ahead and do 3 shots instead to get the odds up much higher. And we're going to be adding in Bournemouth to win or draw. Now, there is a chance that Leicester are going to be at home, and the fans are going to create such an amazing atmosphere that encourages the players to play beyond their level and for them to pick up the win, or they could just get a lucky fluke result at home. But I really doubt that. Bournemouth have been a very underrated side. They've picked up more XG than their opponents in 4 of their 6 games so far this year. So I just feel like Bournemouth are an underrated team. They should easily wipe the floor with Leicester, to be honest, because Leicester are the 19th worst attack and the 20th worst defense in the league. There's only 20 teams. What more is there to say? It just makes sense to be backing Bournemouth in a game like this, especially my boy, Antoine Semenyo. Alright guys, so those are going to be my 7 best bets on the game week so far. Hopefully game week 7 is all that you dreamed it to be.